And good morning and welcome to Touch Base Daily. Today is Tip Tuesday. It's Tip Tuesday, and our photo tip for today is going to be got that little slide wrong there. How to become a published photographer. This topic came along because of all of the amazing people on Black Threads that were asking me this question. So I said, you know what? Why not share it? But before we get to that, we got conversation as we always do. And welcome. I see folks in the building. Let's greet some folks. And I see here, and first in the building is Hannah. Hannah says, good morning, Ron and Touch Base Daily family. And the silver goes to Amparo. She says, Grand Rising RLP family. And we also have in the bronze, Aya. She says, Grand Rising. The Grand Rising folks are back to back. I love it. She says, Ron and everyone. How's everyone doing? I see Rashawn's in the building. Rashawn is in the building. And also Miss G.R. Houston Jack. Anyway, just had to do that. What's going on, Kelly? Kelly's in the building. Miss Kate is in the building. David Moscato is in the building. He says, morning all. And I see here, Mr. Omar is in the building. Whoa, what's going on? Omar is adjusting his work schedule to hang out with us. Good morning, Mr. Omar Ramos. And happy birthday to your eldest. And also I see in the building, Tom Morris. Good morning. He says to all. So how are you all doing? I just rushed back from the city. For those that probably caught my Instagram quick little share, I was on the 39th floor of One World Trade, and had a meeting, chairman breakfast with the Manhattan Chamber sponsoring it, and we also had two very key people. That one who ran for mayor here, and also one of the editors and writers and of the New York Times and a couple of other publications here in the city. It was really good to hear their perspective of where we go from here, especially after the Democrats have lost so many. But there are some good things, and so we'll see. We'll talk about that on Thursday, because now we're back to our politics on Thursday. But it was a really good year full of information. So shout out to the Manhattan Chamber for doing such an amazing chairman breakfast this morning, and so it was really cool to be there. But you guys are so important. I got out of there 9:30, got on the bike, got that bike and rode it back home, and got in the door at 9:56. And and here I am. So I was only 2 minutes late. So I am glad that I made it. Okay, who else is in the building? I see Warren is in the building. What's going on, Warren? How are you? He says, Grand Rising. And Miss Lisa Seeley is in the building. Good morning, everyone, she says. And remember, guys, remember to go to Lisa's page, Lisa Seeley 1 on Instagram, and you can find her book. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you go in there and purchase, not subscribe, but purchase. But you can subscribe here. Let me get my banners going. And so good to see you all. Join us on YouTube if you are on. Oh, you know what? I forgot to include Instagram. Did I? Did I forget Instagram? Holy moly, I did. I forgot you guys. Welcome all you Instagrammers out there. And sorry I let you in late, but here you are. You didn't get the intro, but here you are, Instagrammers. And the thing is that these things do not live on Instagram, but they live here on YouTube. And so there are a couple of things I do want to bring to just talk about briefly. And one is, it's cold in New York. It feels like autumn. Holy moly, it feels like autumn. The winds are whistling by. It is cold this morning. The temperature is dropping. The winds are increasing, which is not good for our drought situation here in New York. We had just a little bit of drizzle the other day, Sunday night, and we are in a drought here in New York City. And so all those New Yorkers and anyone in the Northeast, because it's not just New York, but it's New York, it's New England, it's Boston, it's Philadelphia, all of our wonderful northeastern states are in a drought. We need water. We need rain. So folks, pray for New York to get some rain. So anyway, here we go. Derek is in the building. I see you, Derek. I see you. I see you. I see you. And here we are. So guys, what are you up to this morning? What are you doing at what it's 10:09? What are you doing right at this minute besides just listening to me? What else are you doing as you are listening? Hey, Alieze is in the building. Good morning. Alieze, are you back? Is this a welcome back to the States, or are you viewing from overseas? She says, good morning, everyone. And Hannah's in the building. What's going on, Hannah? So good to see you. Hannah is in the building. What we said? Again, we said Hannah already. Oh, I'm a little discombobulated after rushing. G says, been up since 5 a.m. scheduling content for December and January. This woman is non-stop. Non-stop. Oh, you know what? Since you are back and Gwendolyn is back, maybe I'll just send you guys an invitation. Y'all want to pop on the screen and just have a little conversation before we start our lesson today. How about that? I want to hear about Africa. I want to hear about Africa. Okay, so let's do that. I know you may not be ready for the screen, but you know what? I'm saying it out anyway, just in case you are. You guys are always ready to come on board. Lisa, one of these days, you got to come on. Lisa has to come on board as well so you can talk about her book. Lisa, we need you know what? Tomorrow, we do not have a guest scheduled. I think Lisa should be a guest tomorrow, but I mean, in that way she can talk. Then she has a video talking about her book, how she created it. We can have a conversation, her story. Not putting you on the spot, but I just think, Lisa, tomorrow could be yours if you want it. Tomorrow, Wisdom Wednesday can be yours. Lisa says she is searching flights. Lisa's always on the move. And I see here, who else is, what else are you doing at this moment? What are you doing at this moment? Tom says, having my coffee and watching the light come up in California. You know, we have a lot of West Coast people in this community, right? I think it's 5 of you. 5 regulars that are here from the West Coast. That means you get up earlier. Kimmy Kim is in the building. What's going on, Kimmy? Kimmy, she is in the building. What else? What are you doing right now? Kelly says, I'm working. And what else? What else are you doing right now? What are you doing right now? Oh, Rashawn says, I'm just getting off work. She works the graveyard shift. Wow. Okay. There we all are. Okay, so anyway, anyone want to pop on? Gwendolyn, come on. And Alieze, if y'all want to pop on. I think it went through. I think I sent it out. Okay, so at this meeting this morning, we talked about, and what I'm loving about this time in this whole world we're living in right now is that everyone has an opinion about where we're going, what's happening in the administration, where New York is going to be, what we're doing. She says, I will let you know when I can come on about drought and fires back east. Yeah. And gotcha. Okay, so but yeah, so everyone's people are talking about where the pendulum, how the pendulum swings from left to right, from extreme to right, and from left to right, I should say. And yeah. Anyway, I'm at a loss. Um, let's see here. I did not look at any news today, so I have no news for you. What else is on your minds today before we go into lesson? Because we'll just drop into our lesson plan. And how many of you are photographing your world? That's a question I need to ask you. How many of you are photographing your world, going out into the world with your camera, taking pictures of your surroundings, the people around you? Hey, Chrissy. Chrissy's Corner is in the building. How many of you using your cameras? So you know what? I think we're going to just dive in. We're going to dive right in to our lesson. And it's probably going to be an easy, short day today. I am going with a group. If you want the link, see here. It says, Rashawn. Oh, I am going with a group. If you want the link, I can DM you from Morocco. Whoa! Oh my gosh. I was supposed to go to Morocco the year of COVID. That December, I was supposed to go to Morocco and haven't gotten it back on the calendar yet. My allergies are acting up from all the smoke we had in the city a couple of days ago. So forgive me if I sound a little off. Chris says, I'm always photographed a little bit of everything. That's how you do it. I've always photographed a little bit of everything. That's how you do it. Where's my photographers at in the building? Where are my photographers? I know Amparo's photographing something. She's always on the move. Hey, Gwendolyn's in the backstage. Let's bring her on. What's going on, Gwendolyn?
Oh, not much. How are you?
Trying to get over this allergy / feels like a cold, but I don't know if it's a cold. But
Welcome to the team. Team allergies.
oh God, it's like and you all you need is one thing to set you off.
Yeah, but once you know it, you can plan accordingly. Like, I plan. When I was in New York, I kept a really healthy collection of local honey and bee
Yes.
pollen. And it was only when it got really out of pocket that I went to taking some sort of pharmaceutical. So if
Yeah.
for people who know, like if you include the bee pollen or the honey, the local honey from the trees in your area, that can help you. But you're dealing with smoke, so that's something
Mine is a
different. Like
smoke allergy.
that's not
Yeah.
that's
We have
something
forest fires in New York City. I'm sorry, outside of New York City, just outside of New York City, in the New Jersey, New York border. Some of the folks are now having to flee their homes. So
when you don't do right.
look, we West Coast, we're catching up to you.
People
We always see these scenes in the West Coast, but we don't see them in the East Coast too often. And we got four forest fires going on right now in the New York area.
Well, if I may, people kind of forget. Like I was telling my husband this past tornado season that Tornado Alley is shifting. And if you look at the records, you can see that it has shifted east. It has shifted.
What's that?
So, we keep pretending that we are still back in 1957. We are not. Right, all that stuff about preparing for climate change and this, that, and the other. We are in it at this moment. Like we're here. So I don't know why we keep doing we're not. It's like, look, this is a whole new world, and the fact that humans are like locusts, where we come in and snatch up all the land, and we wonder why bobcats are taking our Pomeranians. We don't know how to act right. That's just what that is.
That's a good analogy.
It's the truth. Think about it. Like, think about how we come in and we take every piece of land, chop down trees. We want to move rivers because we don't like the way it naturally flows. Mother Nature, she always comes through. And she's like, you know what? I'm going to show y'all something real quick. That water will remind you of what was. Plain and simple. It's like, cut it out. We don't,
You cannot fight Mother Nature.
Hey, we learned the hard way.
Yeah, I see. Hey, Derek is in the building. Another West Coast. The West Coast is in the building. Derek says, wow, yeah. What's going on, Alieze? Welcome back home.
Well, hello.
How was your trip?
My trip was great. It was busy, but it was great.
What was your takeaway? What was your biggest takeaway from your trip?
Biggest takeaway from my trip. Don't travel with everybody. But anyway.
I know, that's right. That's why I only travel with one person or by myself. I will never travel in groups.
I think the biggest takeaway is just seeing how kind the people really are. Like they're, even when they interact with each other, like they're kind people. So
you're talking about the people that were traveling with you, or the people
that
who
live in
Africa?
There. People who live in Ghana.
People that live in Ghana.
We went to the market. We didn't go to the tourist market. We went to the market.
Nice.
And we went on market day. It's a lot of people.
So it was a lot of people.
Yeah, because Accra has approximately 2.7 million people.
Yes.
So traffic is horrible.
Yes.
And there were the different places. We always hear about the slave castles.
Yes.
We visited 2 of those.
So you went to Cape Coast, and you went to Elmina?
Yes. We went to both of those, but we also went to the site of the last bath.
Oh.
Which was very interesting. That's very
I don't remember that. I didn't go to that.
I can't remember exactly the name of the place, but I'll get it for you. But it was the site of the last bath. It was when they brought the people that they were going to sell into slavery. That's where they took them to this river for their last bath before they took them to the castle to be auctioned off.
Wow.
And so they have one side where you used to take them down for the last bath, and then they have another side that you can go down and kind of give thanks to your ancestors, and actually put your feet in the river. And the river is pretty clean because it's not coming like it flows out. I guess I don't know how it goes.
Flows out from the mountains.
Yeah, and so in that side it has the first bath, which is meant for you, and then on the back. On the other side of the sign, it says "Welcome Home." And when you go on there, we have an amazing young man named Kwame who actually just went through the whole thing, the whole telling of the story, and he did prayers and everything with us, and it was just amazing to experience that and to think that we hear about that. We always see like the door of no return and all that.
The door of no return.
I've never seen anyone talk about the last bath and how they marched for it. Could have been they led them for it. Could have been 1,000 miles or whatever it was.
Yes.
So that's where they took them for that bath, and you don't hear about that part. So they could get them ready and have them looking healthy when they were auctioned off. And so that was that was probably the most emotional experience for me when I was there.
Yes.
Because you truly do think about what the sacrifices were and it made me think about us, right? So this was probably it may have been the day of the election.
Yes.
And so it made me think about us in the sense that what I said to the ancestors for me was, thank you for giving us the ability to survive and to also thrive. And knowing that we are resilient, that no matter what happens, we have that in us.
Yes.
And then to understand that to get there, we have to be unified. So being that, and the young man was so nice. I gave him a big hug and everything because just him telling the story made you very emotional. And at the end, I jokingly said that he had this necklace on, and it was I'm gonna mess up the shell name. Is it the curry shell, the one they use for currency?
The white ones?
Curry shell. I think it's curry shell. And he had a little necklace that had one in the middle. It's like it was on a leather thing shaped like a diamond, a small one. And I jokingly said, I need that necklace. And he took it off and gave it to me.
That's how Africans do it. That's the way they do it.
I was like, no. And the person who our guide said, no, take it. And so I took it. And
it's cut. That's the custom.
Yeah. And then,
I'll never forget when someone told me that we were at a restaurant and someone said, to another woman, oh my gosh, I love your scarf. She was wearing this really beautiful scarf. And the woman, American, said, "I love that scarf. It's so beautiful." And the woman took it off and gave it to her.
Yeah, sure. Right.
And she was like, "Oh, no, I didn't want." No, she was like, "Nope," because that's the custom. Isn't
Right.
that amazing? Like you walk
It
up to
is.
someone, so I was like, in America, they be running from each other then because
They definitely would have given you the necklace.
you wear something good, and someone says, "I like that," and you start taking things off.
Right.
But it is part of. I know in Nigerian culture, if someone likes something or someone says they like something, usually the person will give it to them,
right, and
as a gift.
Yeah, and a part of it, like here in the story, is just understanding how they did fight.
Yes,
and how they do hold their ancestors accountable for the enslavement of other Africans. So they do
yes,
about that as well, and explaining the difference between what happened to people when they were captured there and quote unquote enslaved, as opposed to what happened in America.
yes,
And that they could be integrated into the society. They were farmers.
yes.
They would go farm. If they were doctors, they could do that. So they were integrated into the community. And
Yes.
that's how they worked it. And some people, and what they were fed was, well, maybe you shouldn't, by the Europeans, was maybe you shouldn't trust them because you know they were your enemies.
Yes.
And that's how they were promoting the division. And so
divide and conquer, as always.
Yeah, but it was like, and then we went to Kumasi.
And you went to Kumasi. How was that?
So Kumasi is like, that's where you go. They took us to where they make the kente cloth.
Yes.
It was interesting to watch because they don't have machines. They are the machines.
Yes.
Weaving the cloth. So you saw the weavers weaving, and you could get the authentic kente cloth from the people who actually made it. So the gentlemen who were actually making it were the ones you could make the purchases from. And all of the cities, the traffic is horrible.
Oh well, you want to hear something really interesting that people don't know, is that when I was there, which was in 2015, they were building parts of the highway system. It was America. It was the Bush administration that built those highways or the roads in Ghana. Bush Jr. gave lots of money and funding to their infrastructure in Ghana. And but yeah, I mean, you see,
they still building those roads across.
They still building. It takes a long time, and the country is growing at such a rapid pace. So one of my buddies was just there, my friend who lives in Namibia, he was just there in Ghana about 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
And he said the prices are higher than they used to be. There's gentrification going on in Accra and a lot of the main towns and cities because Americans and British are moving into Ghana,
into Accra,
and into those areas,
the nicer areas, yes.
Yes, and they're bringing, and the price is going up, and so now the local residents who lived in Accra all their lives can't afford to live in their own
country,
in their own city. And so a lot of transition is happening.
Yeah, we talked about that a lot. So we had a great guide. Her name was Abba. She was an extremely great guide. And so we talked a little bit about what it cost them to live there. Yes. And then seeing how they live. Like, you are so privileged here.
Yes.
In how you live. Your water's not stored in some black tank somewhere for the community.
The black one or the blue one, right?
Right. Yeah. It's like you're sitting there and you're looking at these towns. Clearly they don't have power.
Yes.
So you can see that. You can see that in the shacks that they live in.
Yes.
Like these shacks are like shacks that I saw in Alabama years and years ago. And they're lined like that, and there's tons and tons of people there, and their resilience is that they're entrepreneurs on their own. Like they grow pineapples, they're selling pineapples. They grow whatever they sell yams. They say whatever it is. The road is lined with vendors. Even vendors. That's how they get their. It's not just that they're vending. That's how they get their food. Yes. Is to have what looks like a corner store to us be there. So that's how they get their food. And just seeing that, like my niece was like, I'd love to go in the township. And she said, I have a friend who goes into the township. And I have this thing. I don't know if I've told you all. So I'm always skeptical of missionaries.
Oh, with good reason. we know why they were sent here, or I should say, sent here and sent to Africa and sent to South America. Yeah, we know why the missionaries, reasons why they were sent out.
Right. And so I'm very skeptical of them. I didn't ask her. I was like, look, I'm not going. This is a trip where I'm not supposed to start a whole lot of issues. But if she said, I want to go into the township, I said, I don't want to go into a township with someone whose purpose there is to convert anyone to anything. If I'm going to go and be someone who's helping and finding out how we can help. Like some people, they met a group of women from Chicago who actually helped a community build a well over there.
Yes.
Those are the people I would associate with. I don't want the ones that said, we going over there, we're doing this mission. Because it's just like DC. Every few blocks, there was something that had a church label. You couldn't look at it and tell it was a church.
And when you go down the main,
all the religions
every religion is there. Everyone's trying to convert. And it's kind of a strange dynamic because people they talk about God all the time. It's like God this, God that, God this, that, it's Christianity, and there are also Muslim areas. As a matter of fact, there's a great deal of Muslim worshipers and people that live in Accra. Yeah. It's mainly Christian.
They explain that part too. They explain how they got there, how the conquerors of the Arabs came over and they converted people, and then the other people came over and they got Christians. So Accra has mostly Christian people.
Yes.
In there, but when you ride outside
of the city,
you see more Muslim people. And the other experience we had in Kumasi, we also did our naming ceremony. Now, so if your African name or your Ghanaian name is based on the day of the week you're born.
Yes.
So like mine is Ya or Abba, which is Thursday. I'm born on Thursday. So it's a woman born on Thursday. And so we went to the naming ceremony, and I think mine was probably the most surprising of all names.
Really?
We had gone, there's a palace, there's the King's Palace. And we had gone to the King's Palace. And that's the Ashanti reason.
Yes.
And they talked about how one of the queens, the mother of one of the kings, he had gotten snatched up. They were stealing all the gold they could, right? So it's snatched the king, and they took him away, and they wanted this golden stool because each king, the person that's chosen, had to pick their own stool.
Yes.
But there's a golden stool.
Yes.
So the Europeans wanted the golden stool because they all the gold, right? And so she took up arms herself to fend them off for about 9 months. They ended up arresting her locking her up at the end. But and her son was gone for 20 plus years.
Wow.
And they took him on Seychelles.
Yes.
So they took him away for that long, and they returned him. But at that time, they called him something else instead of a king. But their response is, we're going to give you this palace. The Ghanaians said, no, we don't want you to give us anything.
Yes.
We want to pay for whatever we get. So they actually paid for it. They didn't want the Europeans. They didn't want to be beholden to the Europeans at that time. But his mother, her name was Asante Yawa, something like that. So when I get to my naming ceremony, they actually made me is Nana is what they put in front of every woman's name, and then so Nana Ya Ashantiwa the third.
Wow.
They named me after the queen.
Wow.
I was totally shocked because there's this official that sits there.
Yes.
Who does it? And they all collaborate. They haven't met you. They don't meet you before they name you.
Yes.
So based on whatever they saw or whatever it was, that's how they named me.
Wow.
That's cool.
I was totally surprised, and but so were my nieces and friends that's what they did. So at the end, I'm sitting in this space, and older gentleman comes over, and I'm thinking maybe he has some kind of disability, because he's leaning over and he has his shoulder and he's doing this, and I thought something was wrong with his shoulder. So he said, "Are you the one that received the name of the queen?" And I said, "Yes." He said this was him acknowledging me as a queen.
Wow.
I was like, what? Okay. So that was probably the most interesting part. Like, I was really surprised by being given that name. And when we had the group picture, the older guy who was the linguist or the young man who was leading the ceremony.
Yes.
And they took the picture. He insisted that I come over and stand next to him to take the picture.
You know, it's interesting because when I was I had time to stay there. I have friends that live in Accra, and it was so fascinating. I went to this village called Kibi, which is north of Accra, and so when I was there, they start bringing out all of this liquor. And I was like, what's going on?
Gin.
And they had all of this liquor that they were bringing out in crates. And I was like, what's going on? They said the elders want to meet you. So my friend's brother, he was my guide, and she gave me a driver. So I had my own driver and her brother. And we went to all these different places. And so we went in, and they had a ceremony to celebrate me coming back home. And it was every moment of my time in Ghana, it was filled with smiles and joy.
Every time.
And then I would have this, like, someone turned the page, or my days were stacked with smiles and joy, and then tears of joy, tears of sorrow, tears of wow. I had all of these emotions every single day in Ghana. So
I would love to have the experience of being there with someone who's living there.
Yes.
Because we were on a trip. We traveled to lots of different sites.
Yes.
But I like to be with someone who lives there, which was a good part about having our guide take us to the regular market and not just with the touristy part.
But it sounds like your guide, it sounds like you had a good guide.
She was great.
Yeah, because they took you to some really, my friends grew up behind my friend who lives in Accra. She and her brother were raised right behind the slave castle in Cape.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
They literally every day woke up in the morning and saw the tourists going into the Cape Coast slave castle.
Oh, the Cape Coast one, yeah.
Yeah, and so they lived right there. So when I was there, they took me to behind the castle, places that people don't go, tourists don't go. So it was this incredible feeling of being able to interact with all of the people in the village. Even when I went down to Elmina, and we went to the village where the fishermen. Did you get a chance to see all the fishermen in their boats?
Yeah, but the thing was, we went on Tuesday.
Okay.
They don't fish on Tuesday. All the boats were there. They don't fish on Tuesday, but they were doing what fishermen do. They were
playing soccer on the beach, right?
Yeah. So there was lots and lots of boats there.
Yes, there were lots of boats, and the boats, because usually the boats don't go out.
Fish.
Yes, fish everywhere.
Everywhere.
I mean, thousands of little boats, just boats of every color. It is the most stimulating vision. I photographed it, obviously.
Right.
It's one of the most visual stimulating places, Elmina. And you see these boats up the channel, and then there's boats along the beach, and then you see all these well-fit Ghanaians on the beach playing, football. We call it soccer. I never like to insult my African brothers and sisters. Right. We're calling it soccer because it's not. They don't call it soccer. They call it football. And I mean, literally, there's like 20 games on the beach going on at the same time, and you just sit in awe. Or I would go up to the top of the Cape Coast Slave Castle. I would go up to the balcony area, to the very up top area, and I would photograph all the activity that was happening. And I'm so glad you had a chance to do this.
It's just so many people there who are. You see how they work. You know, they're about work. I had several pieces of clothing made, but the one was absolutely amazing. Like she was amazing at what she did, and very like she would tell you, well, now maybe I wanted to do it this way, and she made suggestions. But it was like really great to be able to be there and to support them. You wanted to support people, even if it's like, you know, a lot of the art I saw in the places we went were they were a lot of commercial kind of art.
Yes.
But like it's things that they do multiples of.
Yes.
I still bought a couple of pieces because I wanted to support the people.
Yes. I knew you were going to buy some. I knew you were going to buy some art when you got there.
You do your negotiating skills.
You had to, well, you know, the whole key, in my case, the whole key is my friends kept telling me, Ron, don't speak. Because once they hear your English language, once they hear that you're from the West, then the price is like 50% higher. So my friends would go into the market. They would look at me and say, they say, Ron, what do you want?
Right.
And so I would go through the market with them and go,
Right.
I wouldn't even talk and go, And so people thought I was this rich king or rich person because I was going,
You just pointed out.
And then my one of my friends, her driver, he would go back into the market, and then he would collect everything I needed and wanted. And I would give him this, whatever, you know, the money for it, because we would negotiate. He would ask the price along the way, and so I knew how much money I had to give him. And then he went back and said, "Okay." He purchased everything I needed and wanted. And but the key is don't talk.
It's exciting to hear them negotiate, right?
Yes.
It's so funny because now I did talk, but the
well,
difference
you were with a tour group, so
but the difference, even when we were like like on our own walking around, the difference between me and say my nieces and their friends, right?
Yes.
I would walk away, and then they go, how about this? How about that? Until when they hit a price that I was willing to accept, I said, okay.
That's
but I
right.
would walk away. They were bad
you
at walking away.
You like walk away.
When we went to get the kente cloth, which was hilarious. So there's one guy, there's a beautiful piece of kente cloth that I bought.
Yes.
I bought this kente cloth, and he said that price. I said, nope, I walk away. So I bought it for a certain price.
Yes.
I bought it for the lowest price.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do.
The same piece, like, oh, I paid 630. I was like, I didn't tell him I paid 450, but
you know what's crazy is that also you buy, like when you're there, you buy all that you can.
Yeah.
Because the same thing you see there, when you see it here in America and people are selling it, the stuff that they get from the Ghanaians, they will mark it up like 5,000, 6,000%.
Oh, absolutely.
And you're sitting there like, wait a minute, because I mean, especially if you have been in Ghana or you are from Ghana,
right?
When you see a kente cloth going for $150 here in America, when you know that they got that thing for probably $3 or $4, and but it is one of the most fascinating experiences. I cannot wait to go back. That's another reason why I'm trying to get my finances all get together and restructure everything, because I need to get back into the world, and I want to share those moments with you all. I want to get back to Ghana. I want to get back to Namibia. I want to get back to Nigeria, and I can only do that by making some crucial, major changes in my structure of life. And
I thought about you right after the election. I said, Ron is making his plans.
I am making my plans. I said, I am out. I mean, and not out. And most people say, Ron, why are you planning on leaving America? Now, I plan to live in both places. That's
Right.
the ultimate
Right.
goal. And I've been planning that ever since I went there and when I was living there in 2016 to 17.
Right.
I've always said I would come back to Africa, to the continent, and live dual places.
Right.
And but and then I also know that like Gwendolyn says all the time, not everyone can leave. Most people can't leave
Yeah.
whatever it's going to happen here.
Right.
However, those of us that can leave, we can pioneer and go out and find places and be able to give information and say, okay, this is a good location. If you want to live in this country, you can do it here. This is how much it's going to cost. This is what you need. Or, oh, I'm in this country. I'm learning the facts. So we have to have some of us doing pioneer work to go out into the world to be able to share. And I really feel that is not my next calling, is to maneuver around the world, do it on my Touch Base Daily. I never thought I would be doing this anyway. And now sharing places around the world. I can't wait to get to that next chapter of my life and share photography and share places around the globe, mainly Africa. I want to really focus on the continent of Africa and be able to say, hey, Alieze, if you want to live here for 3 months, here's the place. Here's the cheapest, the best. I know these people. It takes someone in the communities that live here to vet the people that we can connect with overseas. So I'm going to be your guinea pig community. So I will be on the move whenever that time happens.
And then we talk about, how what the countries respond to what the U.S. has done as far as visas are concerned. So for them, in American, it costs 10,000 cities, which is like over $600.
Yes.
To get an American visa. It's like, how long does it take them to save up that kind of money? So
it takes them forever.
Unless someone sponsors them and pay for it, will not be able to come. They, because they can't afford that. And I think that's a big part. And they have an election coming up next month as well. Later this month, I think they're voting for president. But I think, I said, for me, when I saw like the results over here, it's funny because I was like, okay, I'm fine. I was calm. I was probably more calm than I thought I would be.
Yes.
I was like, I wasn't totally surprised by anything. But I came to the same resolve that many other people have. That I'm not marching with y'all. I'm not going on the march.
That's right. I'm
not coming for your call. I'm not gonna. I felt the people I feel sorriest for are the ones who, and this guy on the plane yesterday, I had a shirt on that says "Listen to Black Women." I intentionally had that for my return. It was a white guy he was from Scotland. And he's like, yeah, I like your shirt. He said, I wish they had listened. I said, yes, so do I. And of course, he's a white male, so he doesn't understand all of it. And your friend, I didn't bite my tongue. And he said, the problem. I said, I have to tell you that this is a white people's problem.
It is.
They're responsible for all of this. This is how white people are doing things. I cannot change any of this stuff. I say, but white people change this stuff, and white people are responsible for this stuff. And so I don't know if he regretted it later on engaging me or not, but it's the things that he asked. He said, well, Trump's going to be an old man. I said, but he's going to do a lot of damage.
Yeah, you only need 4 years if he dies. Or
I don't think he's going to make the entire 4 years.
No, I don't think he's going to finish his term. Yeah.
And I said, I think that's intentional. And I said, he's worse. He's like, I'm thinking about what you just said with the Vance part. I said, yeah, look at it. Go look at it. He's worse. And so just telling him, I said, Black women mean what they say.
That's right.
We are done. We tried to tell people, and now we're just waiting to see the fallout. And I also share with him the arrogance of the Arab and Muslim American people here who decided they were going to show Kamala Harris and the Democrats something. And what they did wasn't show them anything.
That's right.
Said, so what they did was, I said, while they sit in comfort and privilege, they just signed the death warrant for the ones in Gaza.
That's right. That's
I
right.
said, that's what they did while they sit in privilege. So you're privileged. You can say that here because the government current president we have now didn't have you arrested for saying anything. Mm. The one that you have that you allowed to come in is going to have you arrested. He's already told Netanyahu to annex the West Bank. He's already said the Gaza Strip would make beautiful waterfront property.
Yep.
He already said that.
Yeah.
So they're not coming back. They're not giving it back. It was destroyed for a reason.
And so you sit there in your arrogance and do this. I said, so everyone that they're talking about, that's their, and then what they have to do is look in the mirror and hold themselves accountable for that. What we can look in the mirror and say about ourselves is, particularly Black women, 92% of us said no.
That's right.
This is crazy. And so we don't have any remorse for stuff.
No remorse.
And I'm tired of, I don't want anyone, even if it's people I know, don't come with me trying to say, well, they should have, could have, would have. No, this is about American people.
Yes.
This is about the heart of people.
This is the heart of America.
Who chose hatred and fear and greed. That they want, they're not, majority of us not even a part of the part that the beneficiaries are. Elon Musk gained $26.9 billion more as far as he was worth. His value went up that much. Yeah. The day after the election, Jeff Bezos went up by 1.7 billion. They're not going to hurt him. So it's about greed, fear, and hatred.
That's it.
And so that's what they chose. And so when you look at people, and I listen to some of the Hispanics, but y'all don't understand. This man said, Stephen Miller has told you, we're going to denaturalize people. That you're not, your child was born here or whatever, you were born here and your parents weren't, and they came over here a certain way, they're going to send you back too. Yes. So I think that for me, it's funny because I don't, and somebody found an image of the Statue of Liberty sitting with her foot up and she was smoking a cigarette.
Yeah.
I said, now if I smoke and drink, I would be sitting there
exactly.
with a cigarette, drinking my drink and saying, so this is what y'all chose.
This is what you chose.
It's not that I say that it's funny, but it's what you voted for.
It's what they voted for.
And when it happens, don't look around because there's no makeup, there's no redo.
No redo.
Don't look around and say, and don't look at us for number one. Don't look at us. Yeah. Because we had nothing to do with it.
I it's interesting you would say that because I've gotten so frustrated with the mainstream media and all of they're saying everything is the problem why Democrats didn't win except for the obvious. Yeah. Racism and misogyny. Mm-hmm. And no one talks about it in depth. They just talk about everything else. They skirt around everything. But like I said, it brought me solace to like I said, on Saturday night, I stumbled into Black Threads.
Oh yeah, I saw you post something about that.
And it was because Dr. Tachi was in my feed, and she said something, and it just happened to go into my feed, and I was like, oh my gosh, what's going on in Black Threads? But it was so refreshing because there was a lot of Black women that were really like taking charge of this movement.
Oh, absolutely.
And I love the fact people are saying Black men are not going to show up. Black men showed up 80%.
Yes.
What they were saying, Black women, we all knew Black women were going to support. And so you have these, and then the bare minimum majority of Latin folks supported. However, you had a huge swing on the men's to Trump, and some women, but a big swing on the men. Kind of. And and there was an interview of this family, this one family, this young girl. She was saying how her uncle, her cousins, her male cousins, were in the car driving, and then their father was deported ICE came in, grabbed them in front of them. They were young. They're crying. They're screaming. The ICE people take the father, take whoever's in the car. They are left without anyone. And then they said they saw their father being, harassed, treated like trash, and then deported. And she said
Ron,
she could not.
There's a couple of questions. I don't mean to interrupt you, but there's a couple of questions from Trish. She said, "What?" And she said, "Our problem. Please explain." I don't know what that means, and do you think that's a bit extreme? Trish, can you post what?
Yeah, can you go into more detail? Yeah, go into more. Sure. We need more words, more detail. And she said both of those boys that became men voted for Trump. Okay, and she said to them, she says, "How can you vote for the people that deported your own father? You went against. I mean, the women in the family voted for Kamala, but these two boys, these two now men, they're 18, 19 years old. They voted for deportation. They wanted people to be deported also because their father was deported."
May I add something?
Yeah.
May I add something? So 2 things. One, in my opinion, Black folks have always opened their arms to everybody. Yeah. I think about my grandmother. My grandmother had a plethora of babies that were not hers, right? But if there was any child that went without, they came into the home. They were of all ethnicities. She fed them, did all the things, because for some reason, Black folks just put their arms around everybody. Black women specifically.
Yes.
We put our arms around everybody. We adopt people's kids at a hill of second. Yes. Is what we do. But, a lot of us assume that because you know somebody or you have a daughter, you would see them differently. That's a horrible assumption.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like somebody who's abused. So you think, okay, I watched my mother get abused. I'm not going to be the abuser. It's a 50-50 chance on that. Sometimes they become the abuser versus becoming the person who fights for those who are abused. Right? It can go either way.
Yeah.
So, sometimes I know I've had it. We have this childlike dream that common sense will prevail and that everything's going to work out the way we see common sense should work out. And the fact of the matter is, human nature, that's a tough devil to work against. Yes. It takes a lot to recognize. And you and I have talked about it, Ron. Self-awareness. This country is lacking so much in emotional intelligence. We like to tell ourselves lies all day because it makes us feel good. And we want to feel good. Ain't nobody got time for that. I mean, well, for certain Black people, we don't have time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Well, most of us. I mean, think about the women. 92% of Black women showed up. I'm not to cut you off, but where is it? Oh, Charlene, if you could let some of the folks know where you got your 92% shirt. Some people are interested. People want one.
I was going to put my comment in. That's
people want to know where you got your 92% t-shirt. 92% was going on fire in Black Threads. I mean, you just kept saying, "I'm a 92. I'm part of the 92%. I'm a 92%er." I was like, whoa, it's so beautiful. But we got to go to teaching, got to go to lesson. But this, man, Alieze, we miss you. We're so glad you're back.
Like I don't know what the back and forth. I know Dr. Taki was like trying to figure out what.
Yeah, she's trying to figure out what Trish is saying.
So if it were like when she said, I think the one comment I think is a part of something I said. I believe. I'm not sure. I don't want to assume.
I believe it's when you said that this was a white woman's or white person's
white
problem.
People's problem.
Think about it. Like, Black folks fought for civil rights and affirmative action. The person who got the most from that were white women.
Yes.
We know that. We didn't benefit the same way that all those veterans who went out and did what they did, I should say, service people, when they came back, they didn't get all of the benefits of being in the service. They didn't get the housing. They didn't get the GI Bill. We know that we put ourselves on the line every single time and we get the shaft. We get that. We're over it. That's what she was saying. There you go.
Right.
Gotcha.
Right. And,
But the whole thing
I
too.
want to also add to that is that when you look at where the majority still is, we don't control that.
Right.
And for it, if they really wanted to change, that's a conversation where they're going to have to push back harder against the extremists.
Right. When you have 57% of white men voted for Trump, 53% white women voted for Trump, and those were increased numbers based on their knowledge of who he was before. Yeah.
Stop, Ron. So it's a white people's problem because they created the problem. They created the caste system that's built on racism in this country. And I've told people from the beginning, read the book Origin. Origin is about caste system. The caste system in America was built on racism. That's a system they built. We can't disassemble that system. It's a system that they have to openly embrace. It's a system, as I told the guy on the plane, they have to be willing to actually want to accept the true history of America.
Yes.
And not erase it. They have to. Right now, you want to take the history out. You want to take the history of enslavement out. You want to take the history of internment camps out. You want to take the history of the Trail of Tears out. Until everybody's willing to accept that those are the things that we accept it because we're the products of it. We have no choice.
Yes.
But they can't consistently not want to accept it. Or as the woman, the head of the archives now wants to say it makes people uncomfortable. So therefore, she's not going to include it in the exhibition. So she's going to replace the march with Martin Luther King with Nixon and Elvis Presley. She's going to take out anything about Japanese internment camps. She's going to take out information about indigenous people. And that's why I say that, because they're the ones that control it. They're the ones that created the system. So I hope that helps understand it. This is not about me and my biasness. This is about the fact of how it started. We can't undo what the people who created the system did. They have to do that. And what I mean is that when you look at the majority of people, majority of white women, majority of white men voting for those things, when a big part of that was about racism, about misogyny, it was about all of these things, then they are the ones who have to have the conversation. Because clearly, based on how we voted as a group of people, at the numbers that we voted as a group of people, we can't solve it.
That's
and
right.
nor are we in the powerful position to solve it. As I say, we can be prejudiced, we can be biased, but we can't be racist, because racism implies that we have the power to do something about it, and we don't. White people do, because they are in the power positions.
There you go.
And that's what I meant. It wasn't to claim that all white people have this issue, but it is an issue that they have to deal with, because until they're able to get all of them to understand that we must tell the truth as a country and stop trying to sugarcoat things. If you can take your child to watch people be lynched, you can teach them the history of this country.
And it was a big thing. It was a big thing in the 1800s and the 1900s.
If you can take them to a rally where a man emulates oral sex and show your child that,
yes,
you can teach the history of this country. And so that's why I say it's on them, because we cannot make the difference, because we're not writing textbooks. We're not making any of those things.
Alieze, you and what you're saying is not, I mean, white historians have said the same thing. I mean, like Meacham has said the same thing. The problem we have in America is a white problem. It is only white people that can solve it, meaning it takes white people to say this is wrong. I mean, when you think about the abolitionists, it was white abolitionists that said, because of the promptings of Frederick Douglass and all the people that were fighting for freedom of the slaves, it was the abolitionists, white abolitionists, that had to gain the mantle and run with it and say, we are with this, no longer slavery. We are anti-slavery. That's how you got the whole momentum of the anti-slavery states versus the slave states. And it was because white people said, we do not want this anymore. And we have those moments in history that white people have to continually go back to saying, because, everyone goes to sleep after a big movement. They go back to sleep, and then everyone, the crust covers the eyes, earplugs are filled in the ears, and no one knows what's going on. But this is because the white population is the controlling population, they can control what happens. And it is and like many historians have said, this is a white problem in America.
And I agree with the people who and especially I would say after my trip, right? I agree with the people who said that enslavement is not Black history, it's American history.
It's American history.
And I think that it's not about whether or not it's in a Black history course, it's whether or not it's taught as a true part of our history. It's a part of this country's history. This history was founded on that.
Yes.
It wasn't just founded on religious, it was for religious freedoms, but it was also founded on oppression. And we just have to be okay with that. We have to, no matter who we are, if it was something attributed to me, I have to be comfortable. I have to be able to accept that. And it's not a personal attack on any one person. It is just, please go out. If you don't want to, I don't know if Trish is still here. Trish, read Caste, C-A-S-T-E. You can watch the movie Origin. And anything that Isabel Wilkerson has on social media, she talks about what it is, and it really is that our system and our caste system in America happens to be built on racism.
Yeah.
In other places, it's built on other things. It could be just groups of people, but here, this one happens to be built on racism.
And also, and it's not to, again, this is not to knock all white people, because I have lots of white friends who, I mean, they are upset. They are having a moment. They are done. They are just like, I mean, there's white women all over New York City that are like, we just had this discussion in the meeting this morning. And one of the speakers, he was saying how his wife and her friends, they are devastated. They just can't believe what's happening. But again, it's going to take, because we have to always remember, yes, there were 57% of white men that voted for Trump, but that means there was a 43% of white men that did not. And you have to always think about that if it's 53% of white women voted for Trump, there were 47% of white women that did not.
Right.
So we have to always put it in perspective, but it is up to white people to make this go away, to move us in a better position, that equality is equality. But people are going to feel, because if they dismantle the Constitution like they want to do, anytime you hear politicians say, we want to send it back to the states.
Correct.
That was the whole purpose of the amendments. The amendments was to get it away from the states. The whole purpose of the civil rights movement was to get it away from the states, because when the states had it, they did not do right by the people.
Right.
The states. So it's always that's a cloak word. Send it to the states.
Absolutely. Which is what happened before, right? That was the whole thing from the big lie. The big lie was that what they wanted to do from there, they fought because they wanted the right to keep slaves, right? They wanted the states to be able to do that. So the states controlling what you're taught. The states controlling everything about you and your life. And so that means you have to be careful who you put in charge of your state, correct?
That's right.
But I think that even when we look at the percentages, the percentages that voted for Kamala and everyone else of white people, that 40+%, they have to figure out how to talk to the other 50, because we can't talk to them.
Yep.
Right.
We can't talk to them. That's why I put it at their feet, because we cannot talk to them. We can go out and talk to the 8% of the women. We can't talk to them.
Well, that's what the abolitionists did. The abolitionists, they went on their campaigns and went into their churches, went into their synagogues, and went to their places and say, we do not consent to slavery, and these are the reasons why. And they presented their case, And as they presented their case, they are ones that were the persuasive arm of Frederick Douglass. Right. Frederick Douglass could only say, guys, we need this. Or he would go in with Abraham Lincoln and say, okay, you want us to help you with this? We ain't doing it. We're walking out. Right. Abraham Lincoln said, we need you for the war. He said, you ain't gonna get our help until you work it out for us in our benefit.
Right. And
you have to know the whole history to understand why it's important that again, people don't understand that one of the purposes of the Civil War was to not have the states in control. We are the United States, but we need federal laws to keep things equal, and then you look at all of those amendments. Those amendments were there because of Black people.
Absolutely.
But it was because of those amendments that all people succeeded.
Have those rights, right? And and the part is now when you look at them addressing the amendments, what the extremist wants to do is erase us out of the amendments.
Yes.
They
want those amendments. They're after the amendments. Now
they want it for them, like to everything they felt we benefited from. And I always remind people that our civil rights activists never wrote anything that just said Black.
That's right.
They wrote never things about that the Black benefited other people. The reason you ended up with public access to public schools, free public schools in the southern states, was because of the Black politicians who were able to, for that short period of time during Reconstruction, fight for that.
Yes.
Which benefited poor whites as well, because it was only the white men who had money who could vote and do all those things. And I think that's a constant reminder that people have to understand. Everyone who has gotten to a position to be able to, when every women in the country got the right to have their credit cards or bank accounts, is because of what civil rights people did to be able to have that, and it benefited everyone.
Yes.
And so every fight that we fought
benefited
everyone. Now they want to use it because they feel it's going to harm us. And at the long run, and as I shared with the gentleman on the plane, I said that's what the Asian people who were manipulated by Ed Bloom,
yes,
to go after affirmative action, learned this fall.
Yep.
That it wasn't about you. It really was about them keeping the slots. And so when they ended up and their numbers failed at those institutions, they're going to sue. And I said, and I posed this question to him. So what are they going to sue? What are they going to use to form their lawsuit this time? Because now they've already gotten rid of the thing that would have benefited them. So you can't say it's on race.
That's right.
Because you've already said that shouldn't be considered.
Yep.
So that's why you have to be careful what you ask for.
Yes.
What you're manipulated into.
And what you vote for. And what you vote for.
And I think
America's about to find out what they vote for, because it looks like they're at 218 right now on the House vote, House members. And we were talking today
for the red side,
for the House of Representatives,
for the extremists,
for the extremists, the MAGA people. So the thing is that it's about to go down, and people don't realize it's going to. I mean, and I'll close with this before we go into the lesson for the day.
Yes, because we.
But y'all overran, but that's okay. This is why we are on. This is why we're not on Instagram and on YouTube. We can have these conversations. We have a community. We can have them. We can hash them out. We can see what people are saying in the comment boxes. We can address it. We can work with it. We can talk about it. But I forgot my thought.
I just want people in this space when they come in. If Trish listen to this, to understand, I'm not. None of this is about personal stuff for me. It's not about me. It's about, let's talk about really what's happening and how we have to deal with it. And as I said on the plane to the gentleman, I said, let them take it all. I said, because at the end of the day, you cannot come back and point the finger at anyone but yourself.
Yeah.
There won't
be women's rights are gone.
Blaming this house, these Democrats over here, because guess what? That's not who y'all put into place.
It's about to go down. And people don't, and we all know that Roe versus Wade was not about reproductive. It's about reproductive rights, but it's also the right. The main thing is the right to privacy.
There was a thing about right to privacy.
Yeah.
That is what it's about. It's about the right to privacy.
Right to privacy.
And now that that's been shot down, they're coming for. Look, they got the courts. They got SCOTUS. They got the presidency. They have the Senate. And they might by tomorrow have the House.
And and as I said,
a lot of legislation is going to go through.
And that's
what's called speed.
Okay.
They said the first 100 days of Project 2025 will be where it rules.
And but Ron, the part like there's some of us saying, "Oh, we hope that doesn't happen." But there's the part that says, "Let it happen," because then you will see what the full force of what you voted for gets you. Because you have women in Arizona who voted for the pro-life stuff out there, but voted for him.
Yes.
And so now when things become national, and then we
don't matter about the pro. Exactly.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. So this is the ironic part, is that they say we want to give it to the states. We want to give it to the states. We want to give it to the states, right? Until they don't want to give it to the states.
Yeah, they don't want to give
when they do a federal law outlawing anything that was in Roe versus Wade across the country,
they're gonna do it.
Okay, they're gonna do it. So you can say it don't matter if you're in New York, it doesn't matter if you're in New Jersey, it doesn't matter if you're in a blue state, it doesn't matter where you are. Federal law is federal law. So it's convenient to use the excuse of we're sending it to the state, we're sending it to the states, but yet they're not. It's all about the games they play.
Can I add?
They're gonna feel. Americans are gonna feel it.
Can I add my quick little saying that always says, "Until the pain of remaining the same becomes unbearable, nothing changes."
Absolutely,
it's very true.
Nothing changes. So I'm like Ms. Alieze. I'm a little petty. You're gonna have to find out. In fact, you're gonna have to be in so much pain and misery that you're gonna say, "How did we get here? You got here because of how you are." Now, I don't want to.
Right.
No, scrap it. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. When people talk about stuff like you, Ms. Alieze, in my opinion, when people start feeling a certain way, it's because that shoe fucking fits. That's why you feel the way you feel.
Yeah, that's how you. It's
performative. Right? Yeah. We are no longer doing any kind of trials or any kind of time to play around. We are done. If you feel some kind of way when we have these conversations, it's because that shoe fits. That's what I'm talking about. It's the self-awareness. Take a mirror, take all the mirrors, sit down with yourself and really ask yourself, what do I do every day? Because yes, I have Black friends. Don't nobody give a goddamn about you and your Black friends. That ain't it. This is where we are.
This is where we are.
Kind of way, because that's how you really are. Own that shit. Own it. And then we can all move on.
And that's exactly what they have to do. And the last thing is make sure people remember. Now, the Affordable Health Care Act is the same as that Obamacare that y'all said.
That's right. They're the same.
So when your insurance disappeared, that Affordable Health Care Act
is gone.
And they already said they're going to get rid of it. So just remember that. And Gwendolyn, thank you for that, because that's exactly what it is. And it's just like it's the one that said, "Oh, you make me cry, you make me uncomfortable." And yes. And then remember that we as a people who have been in this country as descendants in this country have had the pain. We've watched the lynchings.
Yes.
We've watched the hoses on dogs. We've watched children being thrown, fruit and stuff and eggs being thrown at children just trying to go to school. We've seen that. We've experienced that.
All.
But you all haven't felt it all. Mm-hmm. And now that when you start losing some of the privileges that you have and you get angry, all I'm saying is don't call me.
Well, I was like with the 92.
I'm gonna be trying to build us up.
I was looking at the 92, the Black women on Black Threads, and I was like, y'all making me feel some kind of way today. Y'all make me feel good. I mean, Black women were doing their thing on Black Threads, But anyway, we need to do our lesson.
I have to look
Because
that
I
up,
promised to teach people about
Yes,
publication. So we're going to get that solved and in there. So I
Miss
can give
Louise's
this.
angry interpreter.
No, but this was a great
Well, we already got to have
conversation.
a yin and a yang.
Yeah, well, that's why I love
I
when you
got you,
guys
Miss
are
Louise. I
on
got
here.
you.
I love when you guys are in this. When we're together, we can have really good conversations, and I just love it. I think we have. I mean, people go to the bigger platforms, whatever they want to do, but there's so much wisdom in this whole community. I am always blown away because everyone in here is reading, everyone is alert, everyone is saying. No one's sleeping at the steering wheel here. And no one's on autopilot. Everyone that's in this community is seeing what's going on, knows what's going on. They contribute their thoughts. They contribute their point of views. And that is how we grow. Because I guarantee you, I know at least 70% of the people in this community are going to go home and read and write and look up something, do some more research. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, Lise mentioned that. I'm going to look up Ghana. I'm going to learn this. I'm going to learn that, because that's the kind of community this is. And I am happy that we have community here because we grow together. And that's what's so beautiful about having community. And guys, we're going to need community in the next, definitely. And I tell people, find your tribe, get in your tribe, and contribute to your tribe and build community, because that's how we're going to survive the 4 years that are coming or more. This man, if he does live, he may not get out of office. He may stay, or JD may stay, because they may change things so far beyond. We won't even recognize America.
Well, he said it was going to be the last time you need to vote.
That's the last time you need to vote. So, this could be happening. This could be it. But you know what? It's like Carvel said. He goes, we are no longer in the position, I think it was Carvel that said this weekend, we are moving into an era of no longer being Republicans and Democrats. Those days are gone. It is now the resistance. He says, we are now moving into a place in the dynamics of America is that you're going to have MAGA and the resistance. Yeah. It is no more Democrats, no more Republicans. As much as we want to hold on to those titles, it's MAGA and the resistance. And people are going to resist, just like in other countries all throughout history, when the poor people and the people that were discontent and the people, like Gwendolyn said, become unbearable, then they rose up and said, we don't want this anymore.
Okay, it's not time for thin skin.
It's no time for thin skin.
If that's the problem, and if you're gonna be at the cookout, you're gonna be in the fire.
Damn right.
You're not gonna be over there saying, I brought this over here and I just came to listen. It's not time for listening. And, if y'all see a Zoom link from me anytime soon, that's because the revolution will not be televised.
Ooh. Where's the fan? Where's my fan? I don't have one.
It's time for us to do something different. Time for us to do something different.
That's right. It's time to do something different. Okay, ladies, I'm letting y'all go because I got work to do. To do. It's going to be a quick lesson. It's going to be quick. And so, ladies, I'm getting you out of here. Thank you, Alieze. Yes. Thank you, Gwendolyn. And I love you guys. Love y'all. And so let's go quickly. And I'm going to give you guys welcome to obviously Touch Base Daily, and we are going to talk quickly about, for those who are interested in how to become a published photographer. I want to make sure I get this out to everyone, because I also am going to send this out to my audience that's in Africa. So I want to make sure, because I got a lot of questions during this weekend from people that were interested in photography. And they were like, how do you become published? Now, I got published in many unorthodox ways, but they all fit into what I'm about to share. So people have different journeys and different ways of getting published in different magazines or books. So there's no one shoe fits all. Just to say that. Also, everyone has their unique journey. So you can't look at someone else and say, oh, wow, this is how they did it, so I'm going to do it that way too. It is not. But if you look at some of these basic tips that I put together for you guys, it will help you understand how to become a published photographer. And so we're going to go through them. I think this will help. And this is not for just professional photographers. There are people that take pictures and they get published in a magazine, and they just happen to be at the right place at the right time, taking the photo for that news story or that subject, and then it gets published. So there's many ways of becoming a published photographer. Let's go. Ready to see your photos in print? Here are some steps to help you get published. And when I say print, I also mean pretty much digital print, because most people are posting or publishing in digital print. You get them on your tablets. Okay, so here we go. Let's go to number one. Build a strong portfolio. Curate your best work into a cohesive collection that showcases your style and versatility. Make sure it's easy to navigate and visually appealing. So those that want to create a book, I never forget. I have some folks that speak into my life. I want to do a bigger book. I did one book, but I'm going to do another book. And they were like, Ron, take all your photos and start going through them, combing through them, and looking for your similar stories that you've been photographing over the years. That you may find that you have an amazing collection of photos on cars, and a lot of your images have cars. So take those and gather them, put them in a file, put them together. You may have a collection of girls jumping rope. Some people like jump rope. Some people go to double dutch contests, and you can take all your photos over the decades or the years that you've collected of people double dutching. Or you might be someone that I'm learning also. This is my new thing I'm doing, is walking around the city and taking pictures of old signage. Because one day those signs will no longer be here. So I'm documenting signs around the city, and then maybe one day it'll be a book. And I've collected signs since I was, I've been really focused on it since July, since my photography buddy who said, Ron, you should think about these signs. And I was like, what? So I go around the city photographing signs. One day it could be a book. One day it might be just a story. It may be just a quick story that I hand off to a magazine. Who knows? But find the thing. Curate your best work into a cohesive collection that showcases your style and versatility. Even if you do, like I said, take your smartphone. Use that smartphone. Many stories in National Geographic and other magazines have been photographed with smartphones. So don't think you need to have a big DSLR or a mirrorless camera or some big giant machine to get your story out there. The whole point is to get your story out there. Next, find your niche. Determine the type of photography you're passionate about, whether it's portrait, landscape, street, or something else. Specializing can help you stand out in a crowded field. That's always been my problem. I work against myself in a lot of cases because I like a lot of photography, but some of my colleagues and my peers, they are committed to one thing, passionate about one thing, and they go after it with all their heart, whether it's protests for Black lives or protests for being in the streets or cyclists or whatever their passion is. They go all in, and their reward is that someone in that sector will see their work because they see it over and over and over again. So therefore, they have the opportunity now to be seen by someone in that industry. And they may say, oh, I have an article I want to write about. Can I use your photos? That's how it happens with me several times. I've just shared my work. We'll talk about that in a moment. And then next thing you know, someone saw it and they say, Ron, I'm doing a story. Can I use your photos for the story? And that's how you get published. Okay, next one. Network with professionals. Attend photography exhibitions, workshops, and networking events. Connecting with other photographers and industry professionals can open doors to opportunity. You know how I feel in this community. Networking is key. Networking is key. You got to get out there. I was reminded by the great Howard Cash, who my first interview since when I came onto YouTube, and we were talking. He says, Ron, if you want to get in a certain circle, you got to be in that circle. You got to be in that circle. So, and connect with those people in those circles. Network and connect. So network with professionals. Get out there. And also join communities. Get out there and join other photography communities. I when people were in my feed and my Black threads on this weekend, they were asking me all kinds of photography questions. And they were like, I have no one to talk to. I was like, get out there and get into, there's black women photographers organizations. There are women photographer organizations. There are street photography organizations. There are many sectors. Join community. Go to your Meetup app. Can I say it again? Go to your Meetup app and see what events are happening in your town. Like I do my photography meetup on the fourth Saturday at 2:00. Every fourth Saturday, 2:00 every month, except for Christmas time. And people gather together of different skill sets, and they meet each other and build camaraderie. Some of the people that are in my community have been photographing for decades. 50 years of photography experience, and some have just 50 days of experience. But you need to get into a network of photographers so you can build your skills and build your connections. Submit to competitions. People say, how did I get that first photo into the National Geographic called National Geographic Your Shot? It was a submission. And it was my mentor, Omar, who's sometimes in this building. You saw him here earlier, Omar Ramos. Had said, I had just got back from Africa. I was photographing overseas. And he says, you know what? You need to get your work into other circles. And I was like, maybe. But anyway, long story short, I was a member of National Geographic Your Shot, and they had an article submission. Now, they don't have National Geographic Your Shot any longer since Disney took over the company, but they have other mechanisms through Instagram and through other places. But this was specific and it was curated. So they had an article called Pops of Color. I just so happened to have taken a picture in front of St. Patrick's Cathedral of a cat with a beautiful sweater, beautiful eyes that match. It was perfect for the story. I said, you know what? I think this fits the criteria. I will submit it. And out of 15,000 submissions, that photo made it to the story. So again, don't be afraid to submit your work. Don't be afraid to, I know sometimes you say, sometimes these little submissions cost money, $20, $30, $40, or whatever. Sometimes they're free. Do it. If you have a photo that you love and you think other people will love, submit your work. Enter your work into photography contests. Winning or placing can boost your credibility and get your work noticed by publishers, right? I'm sure after getting that one picture in that National Geographic story by National Geographic Your Shot, I was able to put on my resume photo published in National Geographic, even though it was National Geographic your shot, National Geographic, it makes a difference. It changed my resume. It changed my resume. It gave people now think twice when they look at my and now obviously now I have the New Yorker and all other things. But you know, you got to start somewhere. Start somewhere. Next. Excuse me. Approach publications. I don't do this enough. I need to do this more. Research magazines, blogs, and websites that align with your style. Tailor your submissions to each publication's guidelines, including a personalized cover letter and relevant samples from your portfolio. Okay? Okay? So research magazines, blogs, and websites that align with your style. You have a style. Your style may match another publication. And then they print your photo for their stories. Or you could submit a story that you think would be good for their magazine. So it goes both ways. A two-way street. Next, leverage social media. Share your work on platforms like Instagram, Pinterest, and for those that are in the Adobe world, Behance. Behance is where people gather and share work. So Behance, engage with your audience and use relevant hashtags to increase visibility. So you have a photo. You like your photo. You want people to know about your photo. Put it on social media. Put it on social media. A lot of reasons why I get projects is because people see my work and they go, now people know, because I've been doing this for now going on 8 years as a professional photographer. And people go in and say, oh, I need a photographer. And they automatically know, oh, I know someone named Ron. And then they call me, right? Put your work out on social media. And let the social media be the judge. Now, don't put your eggs in the, I said, don't wear your feelings on your sleeve when it comes to social media, because social media is not where the experts, the experts live there, but people that may like your photo or don't like your photo are just people that are on Instagram or just on Facebook or just on these platforms. You know your work. You know your love for your work. You know your passion. Put it out there. Just put your work out there. Take photos. And can I say it again? Keep taking photos and post your photos. I use now Instagram because Instagram is not the Instagram it used to be. It used to be when you used to put Instagram and all your friends saw your work. That doesn't exist any longer. You have to promote your own work in Instagram. You have to send it to your friends, right? You have to send it to the people you want them to see your work. And then you can also use Instagram and Facebook, mainly Instagram, as your portfolio. Let it be a biography of what you do so people can know who you are. They get to see who you are. Social media gives you that leverage. Next, create a personal website. Your website is, here we go, a professional website acts as your digital business card. Include your portfolio, a biography, contact information, and a blog to showcase your expertise and attract potential clients. So much, I don't know, some people say blogs are coming back. I've seen blogs like on Tumblr. People tell stories. You used to have photographers on Tumblr, which is a blog platform. I'm on Tumblr. If I do a story that I think, for instance, a lot of these lessons I do here, I put on my Tumblr. You know, TUMBLR. There's no E in it. Gwendolyn says she has a blog on LinkedIn. So blogs, people still use blogs. People still use blogs. Okay. So get your work out there. Create a personal website. Even if it's just like you may not be able to afford a website. Maybe you can only afford a landing page, which are usually free. Or you can go to, I think they still have Google Blogs. You can create a Google blog that acts like a website. That's how I got my start. My first website was my Google blog. And I put my photos there and shared my work through there. I think people still do it that way. It's free, right? Google Blog is free. Next, collaborate and assist. Can I say that again? Collaborate and assist. Work with established photographers or assist on shoots. It's a great way to gain experience, learn new techniques, and build your network, right? It's a great way to gain experience, learn new techniques, and build your network. Collaborations. How many times have people reached out to me and you say, Ron, how did you get published in that magazine? How did you get published? For instance, my client reached out to me to photograph their new organization that they have formed in the interior design field. I was also part of an interior design, because for those that don't know, I do interior design as well as a photographer. I was part of this networking group, and they reached out to me and said, Ron, could you photograph us? And we want to create this whole thing for our, we want visuals for what we're doing. And I said, sure. Obviously, they paid me for it. They paid me for my service. So I pick good clients. I pick great clients. And they got their stuff together, put it out into the world, all the photos that I took of them. I was in Iceland getting ready to photograph the Icelandic eruption that went to the New Yorker. But next thing you know, I get the phone call and they say, Ron, Interior Design Magazine wants to use your photos. Can they do it? Do they have permission? I said, absolutely. So collaborations, even with your clients, can bring opportunities. Like, I mean, I didn't go and pitch it to Interior Design Magazine. However, my clients did. My clients pitched what they were doing. And before you know it, I have photos in Interior Design Magazine. So again, collaborations are so important. I'm collaborating with people. For instance, we make us safe. That documentary movie. I submitted my work to something that they did during Black Lives Matter. I become great friends now with the person with Sean who was on here. I interviewed her. We had our conversation, and you guys got to meet her. And then she says, Ron, would you like to be a part of my project? I say, absolutely. Absolutely. And next thing you know, she asked me for a bunch of photos. I collaborated with her. And now my photos are in her documentary movie. This is how it works, guys. You got to get your work out there. You just have to be open to connect. Collaborate. Don't be afraid. I had another person. I don't know. Should I be talking about? Well, there's a project that I'm in. I can't tell you what exactly it is, but they approached me because I had worked on a project with just kind of like I photographed an event that happened, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, we love the way you photograph." And now we're doing a book, and we have a book of photos that we want photographers to submit to, and it's for Black photographers, and we want to submit this into a book, and you are one of the photographers. We would love to have your work in that book. So it's a collaboration of many photographers. And when this book is launched, whenever it will happen, I will be in a collective of all these amazing Black photographers. Again, Don't be afraid to collaborate. And it's not about the money. It's not, can I say this again? I know a lot of people like, I need to get paid for everything I do. No, you do not. There are greater rewards than money. Relationships pay off bigger dividends. Relationships with people play bigger dividends than the dollar. I have a client that I had, she just sent me, we were just talking yesterday on LinkedIn. She goes, I just recommended a new client for you. I said, oh, thank you for the referral. She's my client that was recommended to another person, another client. And then next thing you know, we build a friendship, build relationships. That's right. Here we go. Here we go. I want to say that. Chrissy says, here we go. Relationships are gold. 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 Dr. Tachi says, this is such good information. Y'all, because look, if you ask for it, I'll give it to you. I'll give you the information. And most people pay for this information, right? Most people will hire you and say, Ron, come do a seminar at such and such and talk about this subject. Hint, hint, anyone out there that sees this, I am glad to talk about this on a symposium or webcast or whatever. I am open to share and talk. But again, it's not about the money. It's about building relationships. I have a community and I want you to be knowledgeable of what you can do as being published. The money will come. Someone will see it and say, you know what? Yeah, we want you to speak here, and we'll pay for it. But it's not about the money. Collaboration is about connecting with individuals that you can get them to where they need to go, and they can get you to where you need to go, because the collaboration is usually for both parties. That's right. Gwendolyn says, being genuine and creating relationships will always yield more returns. Right? Right? Rashawn says, awesome conversation. Okay, next one. We're almost there, y'all. We're almost there. Stay persistent. Stay persistent. Rejection is part of the process. Keep refining your work and don't get discouraged. Every no brings you closer to a yes. Can I say that again? Every no brings you closer to a yes. If my old employer did not tell me no, if they didn't tell me no, I would not have said yes to my life. If my employer, who I needed to go on the trip to photograph in Africa, I had an opportunity that came along, I needed 3 weeks, they said no, and I said, hell no, I'm still going. Even though I have to leave this job, I am going to do it because this is what I'm called to do. I felt it. I knew it. I knew in my heart I needed to do this. I said yes to me and said, okay, I got 11 months to plan my getaway, to plan my resignation letter. And what was supposed to be 3 weeks ended up being 3 months of living in the South African region. A no will bring you much closer to your yes. There's a yes coming. You know all the biographies of all the people that people said no to. And then when they got their yes, they were so glad that everybody else said no. Look, if I would have just simply just yielded and said and broke down because of the no, I would have never had a photo in National Geographic, a photo in the New Yorker, a photo in Interior Design Magazine, and the list goes on, right? I would never have had those publications. I would have never learned how to become a professional photographer if I had yielded to their no. Every no brings you closer to your yes. Every no brings you closer to a yes. I cannot overemphasize that. So you want to be a photographer? Yeah, you're going to get a lot of rejection. You're going to have a lot of sad days. You are. You just are. There are going to be days that people are like, yeah, no. You're going to look at other people's work and say, my photo was better. But why did they get the magazine cover? My photo was better. Why did they get the centerfold? My instinct to doing this was even better. But why didn't that door open for me? You're going to feel it. You are going to feel it. Let me tell you. I know, because I'm telling you from my life experience. You're going to feel it. But you cannot stop. You cannot stop. You got to keep going. Chrissy says, you said yes to your life, Ron. That's powerful. Here's G says, it's not no, it's not yes. That's my mantra. And I see Mimi says, facts. G says, if you want anything in this world, you will not be accepted by all. Right? So get out there. Be the best photographer you can be. Be out there. Share your work with everyone. Get out there. Photograph everything you possibly, the things. Someone asked me this weekend in Black Threads this weekend, they said, what's your greatest tip? I said, shoot with passion. Shoot the thing that you are passionate about. I mean, look at Jamel Shabazz. I got all these books back here from Jamel Shabazz. He shoots with passion. Butch, who was on here last week, who has an exhibition in Connecticut right now. He shoots with passion. And now his work is in a gallery being sold. Shoot with passion and doors will open up to you. I shot with passion. Next thing you know, someone got me a phone call. Phone call came through and said, Ron, I'm doing my first gallery show at El Barro in East Harlem, New York City. I would love for your photos to be part of the show. I would have never had, that was my first, well, that was my second. That was my first full exhibition of my work. First exhibition on the gallery walls in a building structure where people came to see it. Why? Because someone's kept seeing my work on social media. They were like, oh my gosh, your photos are making me cry. Your photos are making me aware of what's going on in the streets doing Black Lives Matter. Don't underestimate yourselves. Stay persistent. Okay, I beat this one. I beat this one down because I'm very passionate about this. Be passionate about what you do. Keep going. Next, consider self-publishing. Right? Consider self-publishing. I have a book over there. Wait, can you see my hand? There we go. Over there is my first self-published book of my volcano eruptions in Iceland. Right? Platforms like Blurb, which is where my book was created on Blurb, or Amazon Kindle Direct Publishing allow you to publish your own photography book or ebook. So guys, don't be afraid of this, to consider it. Consider self-publishing. platforms like Blurb and Amazon Kindle Direct Publishing, right? There's so many options out there. We live in the greatest time of photography. We live in the greatest time of our lives. You can go on Canva and create all kinds of stuff and make amazing books and covers. There's all kinds of platforms that can show off a magazine or a book or whatever. We have all of these resources, technological resources, digital resources. You live in the best time of entrepreneurship. But consider self-publishing. It is good. It is a good thing. I see some love in here. I see Gwendolyn says, focus on your own race. What's for you is already yours. Aya says, man's rejection is God's protection. Oh, it's certainly true. Oh, how many times did that help me? I see the flowers. I see the emojis. And GR Houston says, let's go there. She says, that's what I did. I published my own photo magazine. Printed copies arriving in a week. And let me tell you something. Can I tell y'all something about Miss G's published piece of magazine, photo magazine? It blew my socks off. I could feel my socks going off my feet. I was like, whoa. I was like, Gwendolyn, you did this? I mean, she's capable of doing a lot of stuff, but I was like, whoa. She'll tell you, I lost my mind. I was like, what? What? This is great. Oh. Get out there and do it. Don't let anything stop you. Okay, next one. Let me let this go. There we go. We're almost there. Here we go to the close. In conclusion, y'all. In conclusion, remember, getting published is a journey that requires passion, persistence, and patience. 3 P's. Passion, persistence, and patience. Can I say it again? Passion, persistence, and patience. Keep shooting and sharing your unique perspective with the world. Can I say it again? Keep shooting and sharing your eyes, your thoughts, your mind, your sight, your camera is unique. Your unique perspective with the world. Man, did anyone learn anything today? Did this help anyone today? There you have it. There you have it. Right? This, when I got the question, I was like, okay, I got you. I hear you. I hear you speaking. I'm going to, and I always say, if you want to know about something, DM me. I will do the homework. And give you at least the basics. Now, obviously, you can take all these and go into their tangent. You can build upon all these basic tips, but you got these basic tips, and I think you will be rewarded for it if you do them or do some of them. Get out there and do it. Mimi says her hand, and Mimi has her hands raised. I see Anthony's in the building. He says, there are lonely days as a photographer, especially in the beginning, but you have to stay the course. That's right. Mimi says, this was so encouraging. Thanks, Ron. Chrissy's hand is up. Okay, excellent. You know, like when we grew up in church, he said, now the doors of the church are open. Now the doors of the church are open. Okay, so guys, what I want you to do is to like this video, share it. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe. I know we were on here 2 hours today. I didn't mean for you guys to be on here 2 hours today, but we were. The first half was great information. We talked about Ghana, Ali's trip, which led us into our political situation here in America. And then you got this amazing lesson. So this was 2 hours spent well. Spent well. Chrissy says, I learned a lot. Thanks, Ron. Thanks, Ron. Aya says, this was very inspiring and helpful. Thank you, Ron. There you go. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. And so there you go. There you have it. Let me just give you my a couple of little things here. My little banners I want to share with you all. My other banners. Here we go. One is if you know anyone that's looking for an event photographer, send them my way. This is how I make my money as an event photographer. Now, what is an event? I do all kinds of events. Like it's a photojournalism event. Yes, like photographing volcanic eruptions in Iceland. That was an event. Anything is an event. Anything that's an event, whether it's a news report or if it's your I did a bas mitzvah this weekend, which I was so blessed to be able to do. Yes, I do events, corporate events, lots of corporate events. I have 2 corporate events coming up at the end of the month. So guys, if you know someone that needs a photographer, say, hey, you know what? Here's Ron. Number 2, I want to thank my sponsors, those that are here. And if you want to be on this thankful sponsor page, make sure you reach out to me. You can just email me or send it through DM me or email me. And you can get to collect the Rolling Clouds. They are here, and Patreon community is here, and Eretmis is here. And if you have a business that you want to share, please share. Please become a sponsor by joining my Patreon page. My Patreon page is there for you to join. Okay, so you have it. There you go. And I'll give you that last bit of information if you need that. There you go. Support by joining my Patreon community by patreon.com/Ron Lewis Photos. It takes money to be here. And if you want to support, you can do that too. Okay. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me today. This was wonderful. This was rewarding. I had a great time with you all today. What a great day. But I got to get to work. I got some editing to do for my client. Lots of editing for both clients. I got 2 clients to edit for today and tomorrow and all week. So I'll be doing that again. Mimi says, I missed the trip. What do you watch? Okay, got that one. Okay, got you all in here. Okay, got you all in. Okay, guys, see you on tomorrow. It is our Wisdom Wednesday. See you tomorrow.